Okay, so we're going to start out working on our do-it-yourself woven. The first thing to do is to make sure that you get all the shrinkage out of it, because this is going to shrink a lot and you don't want any surprises once you get through doing all your hemming. So I put it in the wash on hot water, put 1/4 of a cup of vinegar in it, and then put it in the dryer on the steam cycle. Put it back in the washer, put it in the dryer. A trick to get this material a little broken in is to put some tennis balls in the dryer with it. That way when it tumbles, it'll put a little wear into the fabric, so it's not so stiff when you start to initially wrap. So we got 7 yards here, and what I'm going to do is I have to make sure I have the right width. Ideally, anywhere from 24 to 28 inches is a good width. I want to do 30 just because I do a lot of tandem carries. I want to make sure I have enough material to make a good deep seat for both of my kids. So instead of having to go through and deal with all these frayed ends, Osnaburg is really good with tearing, so we're going to measure out the material to our width, and then we're going to just rip the fabric all the way down, so you don't have to worry about cutting and then frayed ends again when you cut. What I want to do is a double hem. So if I have a 30 width, I'm going to go ahead and measure 34 inches wide. That way I can fold 1 inch and then fold another inch and have a good solid hem at the bottom. So real quick, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to see the width on it is about 42, 43. So since I have frayed edges on both sides and I want to eliminate those, I'm going to tear down this way and down this way instead of just picking one end and measuring 34 from there. So I'm going to come down here just a little bit, random spot, make sure I have 34 there. I'm going to make 2 slits in my fabric. I'm going to come down to 34 and make another slit here. And then I'm just going to go through and tear all the way down these 7 yards. And remember, it shrank a little bit, so we're probably down to about 6. I'm making a size 7 wrap, so we're looking for 15 feet, about 5 yards. Okay. So now that we've got ourselves a good 34 width here, I want to make sure that my length is the 15 feet, make sure that my shrinkage wasn't over or under. Okay, now that we have this fabric folded up after making the tears, you can either do a team fold, or I had to take, when I was solo one time, take it, lay it out in the living room or somewhere that has a lot of length in the room, and then just kind of go by there and fold it up. So I folded it, and we have a couple of layers. We're going to go ahead and measure this to make sure. I want to make sure I have the 15 feet, not more, not less, to make the 7. So as I measure this, I see that I have 27 inches. I have 8 layers, so I'm going to multiply the 8 by the 27 to see. So after doing a little bit of math, I have about 18 feet on my wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2.5 feet. That way I have enough room to account for the hemming on my edges as well. So I've taken care of my rails. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut both my edges, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a really easy, quick, no pin way to get the hem lined up and ready for the sewing machine. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut 1 foot, 1 1/4 foot off of each side, off of each end. That way I got down to my 15 feet that I wanted. I left just a little extra in case we do have shrinkage later on. Plus, I'd rather have a little more than not enough if I want to do different carries later on down the road. So what I've done now is I've just piece by piece unfolded what I had folded up with my team fold. So again, I'm going to take this because I want to have as much tail down there as possible. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out my 1-inch hem. And the first video I shot, I wasted so much time. I burned all the frayed ends. I had sat there and pinned my size 3 all the way down to hem, and then I learned this new way, so it'll save everybody a bunch of time. So I got my 1-inch hem here. I'm going to fold it over, take my iron, and I'm just going to go all the way down, keeping this folded, and I'm just going to steam. The steaming with the iron will also help break your wrap it a little bit. So different ways to break your wrap. For not dragging, ironing, the tennis balls in the washing machine, sleeping with it. I let the girls play with it. I use it as a blanket when I get cold. All different things that will help you get less grippy and a better wear with your babies. Okay, now that I have my first section ironed out, before I pull more fabric up to keep this, since it's not a seal, to keep this in order,